Okay, welcome to the Unit 9 review. We're going to go through this kind of quickly. If you need help or have questions, you can put them in the comments below. Ask me on Twitter, ask me in class, use smoke signals. Well, you could ask anybody else in the room, but you don't know who's in the room, so that's weird. Okay, find the circumference of each circle. We're given the diameter here. There's some formulas that we're going to have to know, guys. I'm going to put them up top of the page just so you remember. So the area of a circle is pi r squared. Circumference is 2 pi r or pi d. And then the equation of a circle, I'll put that for my name. It's not my name, but that's what I'll put. Uh, that's x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals the radius squared. Alright, so it tells us the directions say use your calculator's value of pi and round answers to the nearest tenth. So this is just 11 pi. I'm not going to do that calculation because I get paid a lot of money and it's not to push buttons. Alright, so you guys can do that calculation on your own. I'm going to set it up for you though. Here the circumference is 9 pi. The Casio, the pi button is shift and the EXP button at the bottom of the screen, and the TI it's second, and then the caret button, which is the upside down V or exponent button. If you can't find it, just bang your calculator against your head and then look again. Okay. Here the area of each, this is 144 pi, and here this would be 64 pi. I'm getting 64 because half of 16 is 8, and 8 squared is 64. Here, I like these questions. It asks us for the circumference and gives us the area. So you need to understand if the area is 169 pi, okay, well, then the area is pi r squared. So pi r squared equals 169 pi. Divide both sides by pi, and you get r squared equals 169. So the radius must be 13. So then the circumference is 2 times 13 times pi. Okay. Similarly here we have pi r squared equals 9 pi. So r squared equals 9. So r equals 3. So the circumference equals 6 pi. Boom. Page 1 done. Graph each equation. The things to make sure that you do here is, you get the points right. So there's no numbers next to x or y here. So I know the center of that circle is at 0. And then 43, the square root of 43 is about 6.5. So I'm just going to go up and I'm going to put my points about 6.5, as best as I can. And then I'm going to draw that circle. Again, you're probably sketching yours. I'm making mine with the board here. As long as it's close enough, then we're good. Okay. Let's do another one. This one again, the center is 0, 0, and the square root of 36 is 6. So very similar to the other circle. La, la, la. Okay, so there's those two. Identify the center and the radius of each, and then graph. So here the center, this is negative 4 and positive 1/2, and the radius is 1. So that's negative 4 up 1/2. And then if the radius is 1, I'm going to go 1 in each direction. Okay. I'll freehand that one since it's so tiny. And then here the center is 1/2 and 0. And the radius is 3, so over 1/2 and up 0, and then a radius of 3. Pretty simple stuff, as long as you can get 1, 2, 3. That one might be kind of difficult. Just counting. Counting is a good skill to have. It's really useful in a lot of things like math, or blackjack. Alright, so here we're writing the equation of the circle, given the information provided. This is, this one, number 11 is pretty straightforward. This is x minus 15 squared plus y minus 16 squared equals 9. Here, because it is negative 14 is the x value, that means that in the equation it's going to be x plus 14 because the general form has a minus. So when the number is negative, It changes the sign inside to a plus, but you guys know that. And then if the circumference is 4 pi, that means, let's see, circumference equals 4 pi. So 2 pi r equals 4 pi. I don't know why I put that there. It's supposed to be an equal sign. Came off looking like a squared. Divide both sides. We end up with a radius of 2. So radius squared is 4. The ends of the diameter here, first we're going to do midpoint to find the center. So that's the average of the x's, which is negative 7. Then the average of the y's, which is also negative 7. So that's the center. So so far we have x plus 7 squared plus y plus 7 squared equals, and then the radius, I'm going to use distance formula. From negative 7 to 1 is 8, and 8 squared is 64. From negative 7 to negative 8 is 1, and 1 squared is 1. So the radius is the square root of 65. Well, the square root of 65 squared is just 65. Let's do another one here at the ends of the diameter. The center here is 14 and 16. You should notice right away that all the x values are 14, so that makes it pretty easy to find that the radius is 2. From 16 to 14 is 2, from 16 to 18 is 2. So then this is just x minus 14 squared plus y minus 16 squared equals 4. Page 2, done. Page 3, identify the center and radius of each and then graph. So this is 0, negative 2 with a radius of 4. You know, there's a lot of repetitive parts of this test. This is a test where really, if you study and you know your stuff, a lot of us could do a lot to help our grade here with the third quarter ending. The center here is 1, negative 4. That's a negative. I don't know why that did that. Let's fix that. Don't be lazy. And the radius is the square root of 7. Alright. So 1, negative 4. And then the square root of 7 is about 2.6. So over 2 and a little bit more. Down 2 and a little more than halfway. Again, these are just estimates here. We're sketching, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Alright, now we are finding the lengths of arcs. Alright, finding the length of arcs, I'm going to use a proportion to do this. So 30 over 360 equals the length of the arc over the entire length of the outside of the circle, which is the circumference. So that's 32 pi. And then this is all going to go straight into my calculator. And it says to round your answers to the nearest tenth. So I'm going to do 32 pi, so that's shift and then exp, times 30 divided by 360. And I get 8.4, and it's really that easy, 8.4. Let's go ahead and set all of these up. Actually, well, we'll do one at a time. Let's not get ridiculous. 60 over 360 equals x over 18 pi. Back into our calculator. 60 divided by 360 times 18 pi. 9.4. The setup over here, this is 315. You know, if you have questions on these problems because you're not sure like which arc is highlighted or you know which sector you're supposed to do, those are the kind of questions you should ask your teacher in class. You can your teacher will answer that during the test. The teacher's not going to tell you how to do it. But as far as if you're not sure which segment or which part of the circle we're talking about, that's a question you should ask while you're taking the assessment. So 315 times 30 pi divided by 360, that's 82.5. And then lastly, we have 60 over 360 equals x over 14 pi. And that's 7.3. Alright, let's take a look at the next page. So area of the sector is the same thing. The big difference here is that says area, so instead of using the circumference formula, I'm going to use the area formula in this crazy scheme to get answers right and make sense. So now down here on the bottom I have 121 pi. This time I am going to set them all up so we can do all our calculations at one time. So there's my setup for each one. And then I'm going to actually let you guys do the cross multiplication there. You're multiplying 300 times 121. In this section, because there's no directions on rounding, let's practice, actually, let's do these together. Let's practice leaving them in terms of pi. So we won't include pi in our answer here. So 300 times 121 divided by 360 is 100.8 pi. Let's do another one. 45 divided by 360 times 64 is 8 pi. Over here, 240 times 49 divided by 360, that's 32.7 pi. And lastly, 120 times 16 divided by 360. That's 5.3 pi. Just make sure you're following the directions as far as what's what and when to round and when to use in terms of pi. That stuff matters. Number 25 says if the center of a circle is at 9, 4 and the circle has a radius of 7, name the 4 integral points that could be on the circle. So that's 9, 4 is the center, so I'm going to go 7 to the right. So instead of going over 9, I'm going to go over 16 and then up 4. I'm going to go 7 to the left. So instead of the center's at 9, so left 2 would put me at left 7 would put me at 2 and 4. And then if I still go over 9 and I go up 7, that would put me at 11. And if I go down 7, that would put me at negative 3. For some of you, a drawing is going to make that problem a lot easier. Same thing over here on number 26. This would be negative 3, 2, and negative 3, negative 10, and then negative 9, negative 4. That does not look anything like a negative 4. And then 3, negative 4. Number 27, write the slope-intercept form of the equation of the line described. We've been doing this all year, okay? Let's get some practice here. We're looking for a line parallel to that. So the y value is negative 5. That equals negative times 3 plus b. That's what we don't have. B ends up being negative 2, so the new equation is y equals negative x minus 2. Same thing on number 28. We have 4 equals negative 2 times negative 3 plus b. B ends up being negative 2 again. And so we have y equals negative 2x minus 2. The slope of each line through these points, so the difference in the y's is 4, the difference in the x's is 24, the line itself, negative 16, negative 2, 8, negative 6, this is a negative, that's a 4, so it's negative 1/6, always reduce. Here we have negative, let's see, the difference is 29 over 11. And I like doing the sketch method to find out if it's positive or negative, and it's positive, so it stays right like that. The slope of a line parallel to this line is negative 1/2, because the slopes are the same. Slopes are the same. Next page. The slope of a line perpendicular is the opposite reciprocal. So opposite of negative is positive, and reciprocal of 1/5 is 5. And here, opposite reciprocal would be positive 1/7. The review section on this test is from Similar Triangles. You're welcome. So the directions here say, state if the triangles in each pair are similar. If they are, state how you know and complete the similarity statement. So here we have these angle markings right here. The only thing that we can prove is that this angle right here is congruent to this angle right here, and we don't know anything else, okay? So I'm going to say that those two are not similar. On number 36, I'm going to check the sides. So 25, 30, 45, I'm going to list those in order from least to greatest, and I'm going to do the same thing over here. So 25 over 70, 30 over 84, and 45 over 126. And I know that if all of those are the same, okay, if all of those are the same, then I have similarity, because the sides would be proportional. So yes, they're all the same. So we're going to say triangle BCD. Now B starts in between the long and medium leg. So here, the angle that starts in between the long and the medium leg is Q. So triangle Q, or triangle angle Q. And then C is in between the large and the small, which is R, and then S, and it's by side, side, side. Okay? So yes, they are similar, and it's by side, side, side. Here we have an angle here congruent to an angle here. So if 21 over 35 is equal to 33 over 55, then we would have similarity. So let's check that. So 21 over 35 and 33 over 55. And looky there. So we have triangle CDE. So C is the middle point, so we start there again. D is the longer of the two sides, so that's M. So CMN, and it's by side, angle, side, and yes, they are. Here again, I have an angle, so if they're similar, it's going to be by side, angle, side. So 70 over 60, is that equal to 70 over 60, and then 91 over 78. So let's find out. And it is, so we have similarity again. So LMN is similar to triangle L, and we went to the long side first, which is B, A, and it's by side, angle, side, and yes, they are. Alright, last page. You're doing great. If you haven't taken a break at this point and gotten yourself some Gushers, maybe a Capri Sun, Scooby snacks, something, because there's no way you can work for this long without a break. It's just impossible. Let's take a look here. 39, we have these two angles congruent, and then we have these parallel markings right here. These are, that means this line is parallel to this line, and it's being cut by this transversal right there. So I know this angle right here is congruent to that angle right there. So these are similar. So triangle RST is similar to triangle RLN by angle, angle. Okay. Here, that's congruent to that. So again, FGH is similar to triangle FLK by angle, angle, and yes, they are. So for the last few problems, we're finding a missing length. The triangles in each pair are similar, so it tells me that similarity exists. So this is 33 over 143 equals x over 130. The thing to make sure here is that if I have 33 on the top of this fraction, then the unknown has to go on the top of the other fraction, so I stay consistent with the order. And then I'm just cross multiplying, which we're doing a lot of right now, so we should be pretty good at it. So the x equals 30. Here I have, this is a triangle that I would separate and redraw normally. They've made this one pretty easy for me. If that's 15 and that's 15 and the two triangles are similar and that's 65, then this is 65. Not a whole lot to do there. Number 43, solve for x. So here I would redraw these two triangles. I think that's an important skill. I think it's really useful for you guys so that we don't get mixed up. We're talking about two similar triangles. So let's look at two separate similar triangles so that we can see, oopsie daisy, so that we can see everything that we're talking about. So let's move that one out. And let's draw a larger triangle, SUT. Okay. So we can fix that here. Good Lord. Let's delete that. Goodness gracious. Alright, and once we redraw, then we can relabel. So this is 18. This is 66. This is 15x plus 1. This is 33. This is 39, and that's 143. So then, you pick two sides. If it tells me the triangles are similar, I know that I'm going to have 33 over 15x plus 1, and then I'll use 18 and 66. Okay, and you're going to have to distribute and use some, algebra skills here to get to the answer. Let's see, 18 times 15 is 270 plus 270x plus 18 equals 66 times 33, which is 2178. 2178. So then 2170, I wrote 6, I meant 8. 2178 minus the 18 from the other side, and then divided by 270, and I get x equals 8. Nice and neat. Okay, and then lastly, this one over here, these are similar, so 63 and 11x plus 4. And then if we were to rotate this triangle, we would see that the 11x plus 4 goes with the 14. So 14 there and 18 here. And when we cross multiply, 63 times 14 is 882. So 882 equals 18 times 11, which is 198. Whoopsie daisy. 198x plus 72. And then I wrote 888. It was 882. And then let's do 882 minus 72. And then 810 divided by 198. And we get 4.1. I will say I'm not a fan of this question because it doesn't tell us. I'm assuming that 63 and 18 go with that because of the rotation. What I will tell you is that because there are no rounding directions here, I'm suspicious. So I'm going to do it the second way, and then on a test you would check with your teacher and say, which way do you want me to set this up? So I'm going to also do this as 63 over 14. I think the triangles could be labeled a little bit better here, and then you would know which side to set it up on. So we'll try this also and see if we get a number. This is just me being curious, which it's a good thing I'm not a cat, right? Because I'd be dead, because that's how they die. Monkeys, they have fun. Cats die. So that's 154x plus 56. And then let's do 1134 minus 56 divided by 154. And I get 7. See, so I'm going to bet that this is the correct setup and that one's not. Again, like I said, I don't think these two triangles are labeled well. So on a test or quiz, you would ask your teacher, what's the correct setup here, okay? But that's the review, guys. Good luck. Study for the test. Have a blast. Yeah, that's all I got. Bye.